This is a fan-generated show. If you would like to support us, please go to jamieglazoff.com and also don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. All your support is greatly appreciated.
It would be very easy for us here in Britain to look at the European mainland over the last couple of years and conclude that we've actually gotten away rather lightly. And in many ways we have. We haven't had the slaughter on our streets that Belgium, Germany and France have had, for example. But that doesn't mean that we've gotten away lightly, and far from it. Cologne, for example, shocked Germany. But we've had a Cologne every day in Britain for the last couple of decades. The only difference is that ours hasn't been taking place on a public square, although some might argue that it may as well have been. Over the last few decades in Britain, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of young English girls have been gang raped, tortured and pimped by organised gangs of Muslim men. Not Asian men. There are no Chinese men, Japanese men, Thai men or Korean men involved in this. But there are North African men, which apparently qualifies as Asian when you're trying to cover up the truth about the groups of men involved in this terrible crime. On top of this, we in Britain have Sharia councils. We are the only Western democracy with an organised and formal network of Sharia councils. One of the things that is rarely mentioned about these councils, apart from the fact that they dehumanise and degrade women, is the fact that they are run by known jihadis and Islamists who openly seek Sharia fiefdoms in the UK. They want complete control over the lives of Muslims in this country. They're starting with family law, but they aim to proceed to criminal law. They're quite open about this. They don't lash and stone and behead people, but not because they don't want to, but because they can't, for the moment. Suhaib Hassan, for example, is a leading figure in the Islamic Sharia Council, the largest such body in the country. He is on record as calling for lashings and stonings and I quote, jihad against the non-Muslim. Let's be clear about this. Sharia councils in the UK are not arbitration or mediation, they are jihad. They are used by jihadis to increase their power in Britain, and they aim for full and complete control, to take Muslims in this country out of the protections of English law and place them at the mercy of Islamic jihadis. As well as this, we have halal, widespread halal. There are many schools in this country, for example, especially in London, where only halal food is sold, regardless of the ethnic or religious makeup of pupils. Money from this goes to halal certifiers, many of whom also run Sharia councils. So we are paying vast amounts of money, public money, because local authorities are the ones responsible for this, to Islamic Sharia groups. We are funding them. That funding then goes on to pay for Sharia councils to degrade and dehumanise women and to further the cause of jihad. As well as all this, we have completely unpunished child marriage. It's going on in mosques and Sharia councils all across the UK, often involving girls as young as 8, 9, 10 years of age. Nothing whatsoever is done about it. We also have, of course, FGM. About 65,000 cases of FGM, to be precise. Nothing is done about this either. Now, despite the fact that we have 8 hospital units in London alone, and London, by the way, is not the FGM capital of the UK, that privilege falls to Birmingham, but in London alone we have 8 NHS-funded hospital units dedicated to the aftermath of FGM. Now, despite this, with these services, we must know who these people are. We must know the names of the people who are either undergoing or have undergone FGM, and yet there's no prosecutions for it. This is a crime that supposedly carries a 14-year prison sentence, and it's allowed to carry on with absolute impunity. Just like the gang rapes of English girls, who, by the way, I've met some of these girls, now women, and what was done to them here in England, if it was done to Guantanamo Bay detainees, the Human Rights Brigade would be all over it. But they're only English girls, so nobody cares. So here we are in Britain, a society where white English girls are gang raped and brutalised. Nothing is done, apart from a few token prosecutions, but thousands upon thousands of men who carried out this rape are not only still walking our streets, but still raping girls. Nothing is done about it. Sharia councils, nothing is done about it. FGM, nothing is done about it. Child marriage, nothing is done about it. But let me tell you what something is done about. Just now I have read about a man relentlessly pursued by the Metropolitan Police for displaying stickers of an Islamophobic nature. This is what the police go after. They jail people over bacon sandwiches outside mosques, while the rape of little girls goes on with impunity. Torture, mutilate, rape young girls, prosecute Islamophobia. This is how an Islamic state behaves, Britain. We are slowly but surely turning into an Islamic state. I think it is time to fight back. I think it's long gone past the time to fight back. What happened to the British? How did we become a people who stand back and watch this terrible crime and do nothing about it? Now, I understand that our media and our government are relentlessly opposed to us. It is us, those who speak out, those who oppose this barbarism. We are the ones that the media and the government have deemed to be the problem. The truth teller is the problem. We're not. All we are doing is telling the truth, and it is the truth, and more people in Britain are waking up to it, but it has to be bigger and it has to be faster. What can you do? I don't expect people to risk their livelihoods, to risk prison, to speak out against Islam. I know how difficult this is, but there are things you can do. Boycott halal, for example. Boycott funding this savagery. But also get behind those of us who are speaking out. There are many of us. We are not racist, we are not fascists, and we are not far right. Get behind us. Any bit of support you can offer, whether it be a donation or whether you have a particular skill that might help us out. There are many of us. Contact us, support us, find a way to fight back. The majority of people in this country believe that Islam is incompatible with British values and with the British way of life, and they're right, it is. Those people, the majority, have absolutely no representation in the British Parliament. That has to change. We need to put voices like mine into the House of Commons where they belong. It's easy to assume that the House of Commons is the property of the Conservative and Labour parties. It isn't, Britain. The House of Commons belongs to you, and it's time the majority were represented on this issue. Get behind us, offer us any support you can. Find that British spirit, that British fight back. Fight for your democracy, fight for your civilization, and above all, fight for your daughters. This cannot carry on. Don't leave it too long, because it will, one of these days, be too late.